Hello and welcome to Solidworks Station. My name's Stuart, and in today's tutorial we're going to look through this sample exam question for the CSWA exam. If you run into any difficulties or any problems during this tutorial, please get in touch and I'll be more than happy to help you out and try and resolve some of the issues that you might be facing. Best of luck and let's get started. Okay, so there's a bit of information that we can see here on this particular CSWA sample exam question. So let's run through some of the information that we can see. It's asking us to build this part in SolidWorks. It's giving us a material of the AISI 1020, which we know is a carbon steel. The unit system that it's asking us to use is the millimeters, grams and seconds, working to 2 decimal places, and the origin point is being specified as arbitrary, meaning that it is up to us where we put it. It's not being specified by the exam board. It's totally up to the user where this origin goes. We've got 2 values here, A and B, so let's just highlight those on the drawing. So A is 50, so we've got A up here, okay, which is 50 millimeters, and then we've got B, which is here, which is our 70 millimeters. How I'm going to go about this is I'm going to use this as my front plane, and I'm going to draw this kind of geometry in to start off with, creating this C shape here. This little slot that I've got here might pop on these radius of R20 as well. Then I'll create this cross at the back and place in this 6.3 diameter through slot at the top. The final question that it's asking us right at the bottom is what is the overall mass of the part in grams, okay? And we're working to 2 decimal places in that. Perfect, so let's go into SolidWorks and let's get started on this. Okay, so I'm going to go up to File, New and Part, and I'm going to start this in the front plane. Normal to, Sketch tab, and we're going to sketch a center rectangle from our origin, and we're going to smart dimension this up 50 across the top. Okay, and we're getting that from our A value here, and then we're going to use our B value for the height, which is 70. So smart dimension the height at 70. Okay, and we can close that dialog. Okay, just nipping back into our engineering drawing. The next thing I'm going to produce is this slot that I see here, 29 by 3.3, and it's situated 12.5 millimeters from this top edge. So I'm going to go into SolidWorks, I'm going to grab a corner rectangle and just pop that in there. So it was 29 by 3.3, and it was 12.5 from the top edge. Perfect, and close that dialog. Okay, I'm just going to open my drawing up and we're going to put in this circle here. So this circle is diameter 38. The center of it is situated 27 millimeters from this edge, and it's situated 27 millimeters from this bottom edge. We've got a 19 mil gap that we've got here that we'll have to sort out, and then the whole thing needs to be extruded by 67. So let's go ahead and just put this circle in as well, and this little bit of a gap. So into SolidWorks, I'm going to grab my circle and draw out my circle. It doesn't matter where it is at the moment, and I know that the diameter of that was 38, so let's put that in. And I know that it was situated 27 and 27. So I'll put my 27 in here, and then it was 27 from this edge. What I can do now is go and grab a center line. Just draw a center line here to the edge, and then I can offset that line by pressing my S key. Go into offset. Okay, if you've not got that there, you can type offset here, and it will show you where to get that from. So offset, press on the I, and it's under Tools, Sketch Tools, and Offset Entities. Okay, but I'm going to use my S key here and choose Offset, and then in here, the best way to do this is probably just doing 19 divided by 2, and then just clicking on the line. It's only gone one way. We want it bi-directional, like so, and green tick. From here we can now extrude this. So if we go into Features, Extrude, we're going to click on the contour that we want to extrude, which is this one, and you can see here that it misses all of this other geometry out because it's part of a separate piece of geometry, so we can actually select that. If we wanted to select this piece, we could select this piece. However, we're choosing not to because these appear as cuts within this. So we need to extrude by 67, and I'm going to do that mid-plane to keep everything nice and symmetrical. So mid-plane and 67 millimeters is going to go in there, and green tick. Let's just do Control and 7 on the keyboard and get a nice isometric view of that. Perfect. Okay, the next step we're going to look at is placing in these 2x-R20 cuts. Now, because I've done this around my mid-plane, okay, I'm going to use this value of 42 and half it to get 21 to produce this one here, which I'll eventually mirror. I'm going to produce this one first, and then I'm going to mirror it. Okay, but I'm going to half this value here to 21 when drawing in my front plane. So I'm going to go into Solidworks. I'm going to go into my front plane, normal 2, and I'm going to produce a sketch of a circle. Just going to hover over this point to get my center, draw my circle, dimension this up at 40. It's R20 on the drawing. If you want this displayed as a radius, you can just right click it. In fact, just come out of this. Okay, you can select it, right click it, and display options. At the moment we've got display as diameter. If you right click it again, display options, you can actually display it as radius if you want to. Okay. Right, from here what we need to do is we need to produce a cut. So we're going to go to Features, Extruded Cut. We're going to reverse the direction. We're going to make this 2 mil, and we're actually going to choose offset by a value of 21, like so. So it was saying from this point to this point was 42. We've halved it to make 21, and then we've got our 2 millimeter cut that's happening there. Okay, and green tick. Okay, so you can see that happening now. And all we need to do now is mirror that in our front plane to get the one on the other side. So if we go to mirror, our plane to mirror in is going to be our front plane, and our feature to mirror is going to be this cut extrude. If you don't like choosing it from here, you can always go and choose it from here if you want to instead. Okay, from your tree. Okay, just by expanding that, and then green tick. Okay, next I'm going to put in this 6.3 millimeter through to slot, which is 33.5 from this edge and 8.3 in from this edge. So let's go into SolidWorks. Let's click on this phase here, and let's go normal 2. Sketch. Let's sketch a circle. We know that the diameter of it was 6.3. The distance from its center point to the edge is 8.3. and then the distance from its center point to this edge is 33.5. And we can close this dialog. Now on the drawing it's actually specifying 6.3mm through to the slot, this being the slot. So when we go into SolidWorks and we're saying features extrude cut, we can't say blind or through all on this. We're going to have to say probably up to next, like so, and green tick. Okay, Control 7 on your keyboard and you'll get a nice isometric view. Okay, for our next step, let's have a look at our drawing. We're going to put in this large cross shape that we've got here. It's saying that the gap here is 9.6. Midway, okay, is 4.8. So what I'm going to probably do with that is draw two center lines down here in an X pattern. Then probably use the offset entities button to offset bidirectionally by 4.8. Then from there I'll produce a cut extrude which will be 1.5. So let's go into SolidWorks, let's go onto our back face, left click and normal 2, sketch, and let's produce some center lines across like so. Then from here I'm going to press my S key. However, I've stated that you can go into offset up here and choose offset entities. We're going to do 4 point, let's just check that dimension, 4.8. So 4.8 is going to go in here like so, bidirectional, select and select like so, and green tick. Then from here we can say that we want to make a feature of that. We want to produce an extruded cut. It's thinking that we want to thin feature on this. Okay, we don't want to thin feature, so we're going to uncheck that and we're going to go to selected contours instead. What thin feature will do, by the way, okay, if I just click that and go to my green tick, okay, you can see, okay, it's added another 10mm onto what we already had. That is not what we're after. Okay, so we're going to go into that cut extrude, edit the feature, uncheck thin feature. We don't want that. We want to select contours, and we actually want to select this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, we don't want to thin the feature, so those are the regions that we want, and we want to cut in by 1.5mm. Okay, and green tick. Okay, the reason that it's not doing that is because it already made the thin feature out of it in the first place, so I'm going to cross that. Right click on the thin feature, you can see there it says cut extrude thin, so right click on that and just delete it. Okay, go back into our sketch, normal 2, and edit the sketch. Okay, and then go to features, extruded cut. This time make sure to uncheck thin feature, go to our selected contours and just pick up our contours here. Like so. Make sure we've got 1.5 in here. And we're cutting backwards, just check the arrow here is going back into the model, and green tick. Okay, and that's more like it. Now if we check our drawing, we can see that we need to apply a material to this, which is the AISI 1020, which is a carbon steel. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we need to know the overall mass of our part in grams. So let's go back into SolidWorks, and you'll see over here it says material not specified. Just right click on that, and if we go to edit material, okay, we're wanting steel, and it's the 1020, this one, AISI 1020. So we've picked that up. There's things that we can see in here as well. So we can see its material density. Sometimes on the exam, they like to make sure that the mass density is correct for the material. So sometimes you're asked on this. You apply, and you can close, and then from here you can go into your evaluate tab. If that's not here, just right click and just ensure that it's ticked. Sometimes it's not there, so you can just right click on any of these tabs across the top, just select evaluate. The evaluate tab will populate here at the top. Just left click on that, go to mass properties, and then we're looking for mass. Okay, so there we go, 1126.91 grams, and that would be the answer that you placed in the answer box on the exam. So that concludes this practice exam on the CSWA. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been beneficial to you. If you struggled at any point, give me a shout, drop me a comment in the comment section below this video, and I will be more than happy to get back to you and provide some support. Don't forget, you can like and subscribe to Solidworks Station, and if you're new to the station and you've watched this for the first time, then you can always give me a thumbs up if you're happy with the content that's being produced. Thanks very much, folks, and see you soon.